Good afternoon. How are you? Well, the weather is a little warmer today than yesterday. And today I'm dressing, maybe I'm dressing too warm. It's kind of overcast. The sun is dropping like a stone. Thomas Jefferson says the temperature is 55, that the humidity is 42%, and the wind is 5.8 miles an hour. And yesterday it was pretty strong. So this is relaxing as compared to the yesterday. There are several stories that we could think about. At the end of the week, I think we'll be talking about the Supreme Court. But today, we're talking about the Epstein estate. The Epstein estate has 20,000 pages that were supplied by subpoena to the House committee. And so that is different than the 100,000 pages that make reference to Epstein that are in the possession of the Department of Justice. The resistance on these materials has been for so long in so contentious a setting and so much blocking of information that there are serious questions about whether that information hasn't been the subject of spoliation, amendment destruction, lost it here or there. The third area of source information is, are the victims themselves. And they have gathered some information, and I think we'll see more of them being active. One email that was the focus of attention today was one in which Epstein is basically saying Trump was present when a victim was present. Now, the context that I have doesn't let me deliver the punch, but it is certainly another piece that is corroborated by this man's life history of looking through peek holes at naked and near naked competitors in beauty contests that he oversaw. We have him saying how he can grab women and they'll just let him do it. We have court cases in which his harassment and harm for women has been obvious. His answer always is two things: denial and litigate. But there are so many data points, it almost seems unnecessary to confirm that Trump was involved with predators of underage women / girls, children. So today was a special day because there's pending a petition to compel the production of the Epstein files from the Department of Justice. And Trump and friends have done everything they can to attack that. But it remains the case that today, sworn into office, and forgive my pronunciation, will get better as we hear more from her, and I think we will, Adelita Grizjalva. I'm sorry, I try to be hesitant to be respectful, but there's no question in my mind that to hear her speak in English or Spanish is a wonderful experience. And sometime soon I hope I'll get the part where I say her name as flowingly as she does. But she was sworn in today, and she immediately gave a speech as the daughter of another congressperson. And what is that about? It's about the House vote on the petition. She said she would sign it on the spot. So will it happen? Well, we have to consider how Trump and his corrupt minions intend to address this corruptly. First of all, they worked over Representative Lauren Boebert, who's one of the 4 Republican signatories. They want her to remove her name from the petition to release the Epstein file. Now, we have a long history of watching Trump and company isolate a person, browbeat them, offer a carrot something they want, perhaps an endorsement of some sort, or the stick, how we'll punish you, we'll defame you, we'll make you pay a fortune in cases we'll cook up. All of this, I'm sure, was imposed upon Representative Boebert at the Oval Office, if I have it right. Now, present at the meeting were Attorney General Bondi, Deputy Attorney General Blanche, the FBI Director, Funny Eyes Patel. The four people, Republicans, that they're after are Macy, Mace, Green, and Boebert. And you can be sure they're going to work every one of those four to deny the votes to force the resolution. So this is a further example of the civics class being nonsense, at least for how Congress works now. You probably, at some time or other, been faced with the how does a bill become law? And they don't teach this part. I think you have to work on the hill. You have to see the corruption. You have to fight it and resist it, and abuse those who abuse the system. But we know ours don't care to feed the hungry, nor to help the ill, nor to protect children from predators. I am fine with the possibility that persons on both sides of the aisle, the Democrat, Republican, may be identified, and they should answer for what they've done if they have done anything improper. And unfortunately for the nation, it appears we've sunk so low that there are some who would actually hide the fact of predators, significant people, abusing children. How does that happen? It happens because I was trying to figure how to narrow it, but I think I can do it this way. Congress is rotting at the core. It has failed to pass legislation that conforms with the oath to preserve and protect our country. It resorts to delays and lies and attacks on people to force an outcome not dictated by a legislative body, and one that does not use its disciplinary functions to go forward as a body that was charged with preserving and protecting the Constitution of the nation should be conducted. So we have seen recently that there are some Democrats as well, and there's a story, and it was quoted, and I don't know if it's true because I haven't been able to track it down, but it basically said that Schumer allowed people to vote independently on the vote to reopen with the changes exclusive of any protection for higher premiums for those relying on the Affordable Care Act. If he did that, he failed to lead. He should be removed immediately, no question. And no person should fill that position who doesn't say they will fight for the nation. They will fight for the poor, for the ill, for the hungry, for those who need to be cared for, And why are they there? Are they there to satisfy the wealthy? Apparently so. That's why they're there. They're not there in, some might argue, the greatest deliberative body humankind has ever known. Well, they shot that to hell. It doesn't mean we can't have a redemption, but we're not there now. So, the last person necessary to sign the petition has signed it. So, where do we go from there? Well, here there are immediate problems. First of all, we'll hear more about the materials from the family, and it will tighten the noose, in my opinion. And we will have to consider the integrity of anything the government produces from the Department of Injustice because of spoliation, because of blackening things out, redacting. And compare it with what the family is producing, because I assume there'll be points of coincidence, duplication between the two. That will help us understand what the truth of the matter is. And then we have the victims themselves, who've shown themselves to be willing to discuss what happened to them and how it happened to them. Now, for you Kennedyites out there, and I number myself among that group, of all the things I've seen in politics, and I know this from past generations, how people focused on some person or persons, and they were kind of their guiding light. I mean, Arthur Schlesinger is a non-elected official who was one of my favorite authors on the history of critical times in America. And I got to know him and work with him in the 1980 campaign for Senator Ted Kennedy. And he and I, Arthur Schlesinger and I, ran as delegates. We did end up at the convention, and we were there the night Ted gave his speech. And there's more. But the Kennedy is a different generation. It's Jack Schlossberg, JFK's grandson, running for Congress in Manhattan. And I was, at one point, the vice president of the East Side Democratic Club. And so I'm pretty familiar with the political terrain there. And had I not moved to Virginia, I might have tried to run there. Very difficult place to run. I mean, in terms of resources, getting the message out, all of the above. But it's exhilarating if you're interested in politics. There's another story I like, and it is that a judge said Trump can't force states to undo the delivery of SNAP benefits. The guy is so purely evil, you know. Tie a damsel to a train track and threaten to run the train over her. All right? There's another happy story. There's a bar complaint against Lindsay Halligan. She's the prosecutor who, without experience and perhaps without authority, followed the recommendation or direction of the president to go after Comey and Letitia James. And so both in Florida and Virginia, they're looking at her bar license, and if what she did was a violation of the canons of ethics. So we're off to the races. I think the rest of the week will give us an idea what our focus is like going forward. After the betrayal by those Democrats who voted to open without assurances our government, and Schumer himself, if in truth and fact, he did tell the members of his caucus, vote as you will. Not leadership. Tremendous failure. Sounds to me, if that is true, and I'm told it is, he sounds more like Wall Street Schumer than Democratic Schumer. So that's it from my cathedral of trees. Look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.